In this video, I'm going to teach you how having a lack of confidence is actually costing your patients results. And what do I mean by that? Confidence. Confidence, if we break it down into the root word, it means confide. And confide simply means to trust. And a lot of us do not trust ourselves because we've been telling lies over the last couple of years, trying to grow our businesses or trying to help our patients, whatever that looks like. And that's the thing about lying, is when you lie to somebody, they might catch you in it. However, when you tell a lie, you start to hear every single one that you tell. And that's one of the things that, you're sitting there like, I don't lie. And it's just like, I'm talking about like when you set a goal and you don't achieve it, or you say, hey, when this happens, I'm going to do this, or hey, I'm going to set this target, and when that happens, we're going to do that. And a lot of us, especially our visionaries out there and our owners that are like, hey, we have all these ideas and we go to set out to do them, but we fail at integration, and we simply just don't trust ourselves anymore because we have all these lofty ideas and goals, but nothing really ever gets done. And that's ultimately why we have to start looking at this thing like, okay, well, if we lack confidence, which really means we lack trust, how do we start to build trust back up? Now, a lot of us need to understand that like when you're starting something new, or either, maybe it's trying to generate leads or trying to close those leads into new patients, or trying to get new patients to go from eval to, discharge or graduation successfully, or reactivations or networking, whatever we're trying to do. There's so many things that we're trying to do inside of our practice right now. There's so many different levers that you can pull. And ultimately, we just need to understand that like we lack the skills, right? We lack skills, we lack marketing skills, we lack sales skills. No one teaches this stuff. So it's one of those things like it's totally normal. It's totally normal to lack skills, and it's not unreasonable to think that like, hey, when you start to do something, you're probably not going to be that good at it, especially in the beginning. And ultimately, it's not so much that we lack confidence, but we just lack volume. And the point that like, hey, we got to go out and we got to do a little bit more outreach or sales or working with patients, and we got to do the thing, right? So if you want to become the person who actually has the skill set and has the trust and has the confidence, then we have to start understanding that we have to do the activities to be able to have what we want in our practices. One of the things that I want you guys to understand is when you lack confidence in yourself, it's going to prevent you from taking action, right? Because you're going to have that fear of failure. And I think that's a really interesting phrase, fear of failure, because if you define another word, fear, we start to break that down into a current or present danger. And I think we could all agree that most of us don't really have a current or present danger inside of our practices. Maybe you do, but if you do, you know where to call the police. They'll show up, they'll help you out. But at the same time, we don't have fear inside of our practice. What we really have is anxiety. And anxiety is sometimes one of those negative buzzwords that gets thrown around because people don't really know how to define it. Mental health, it's one of those things. Well, I used to have anxiety. And it's one of those things that it's just like when it was clearly defined to me what anxiety is, and all anxiety is that putting your focus on a future outcome that you don't desire. And I thought that was really interesting because if you think about anxiety, it's really just a made up thought, right? It's a story that we tell ourselves in our head, and we think about it over and over. And because we have anxiety, because we're focused on an outcome we don't desire, we don't take action. And that's because we have that anxiety and we don't have that action, we don't get a result. And because we don't get a result, it's going to hinder your patients from being able to come in and work with either you, or maybe you need to pull the trigger and hire a new provider because you guys are full. And now all of a sudden, because we don't hire that provider because, hey, what if I hire and they don't fill? Now all of a sudden, because you didn't hire that provider, it's going to prevent some of these patients from coming in to work with your amazing team, right? So that's where I just want you guys to understand is just like, if you find yourself lacking a little confidence right now, you have to understand like what's the root of that lacking of confidence and where am I putting my focus? A lot of times it's that we just don't trust our abilities to perform that skill. And the cool part about skills is the more you do it over and over again, a lot of times in the beginning, we're already living in our worst case scenario, right? Hey, what if I hire somebody and they don't accept the job? Well, guess what? You don't have anybody right now working for you, so you're already in your worst case scenario. So then the next thing that we need to understand is that what if you'd hire and it does work out, right? Now all of a sudden you start to build that skill of hiring or skill of lead generation or skill of sales and closing conversion. And now all of a sudden you're building that muscle, and that muscle will eventually lead into mastery. And once you learn the content well enough that you have mastered it, so with mastery, I just say mastery is just predictability in the results, then I'm looking to garnish from whatever I'm trying to do. Now all of a sudden you can go and you could teach people that skill that you learned. And that's where I think a lot of owners miss when it comes to training their team, is they don't know fully how to do it they're trying to tell their team how to do it, the team gets frustrated and there's no results. So therefore, I want you guys to understand, in order to start building more confidence inside of your practice, starting at the top and then going all the way down to your team members, you got to start implementing these things that make you uncomfortable. And just remember, like we talked about in previous videos where we talked about the fly that was struggling at that window pane, sometimes you just have to try something new and go out that open door and start building those skill sets. So if you guys found this video helpful, go ahead and click the follow and subscribe button above. And if you want to work with our team and try to figure out how you can start to implement some of these principles inside of your business, go ahead and click the link to book a call. And we look forward to speaking with you. See you on the next video.